is the talk tonight on CBS 5. One focus this evening, and that's the mayor of Syracuse. Remember, it was back on a January day. It was cold. There was drizzle in the air. It was the Inner Harbor when Syracuse Mayor Stephanie Miner announced very, very early that she would run for a second term in office. The mayor of Syracuse now in a three-way primary race as she works to hold on to her job. And the mayor is my special guest for the talk tonight. Thanks for being here, Mayor Miner.
My pleasure as always, Michael.
I've talked to a lot of people who know a lot about local politics. Not one of them has said to me that Stephanie Miner will lose the Democratic primary. Can you lose this race?
Of course. You know, I believe and you run and you make your case, but ultimately people have to get out to the polls and vote. And so we are doing all that we should be doing, talking about my accomplishments, talking about my goals for the next 4 years, and how we can keep the city moving in the forward direction that it's been going.
That New York Times editorial that you wrote, and I pull it up every time that you're my guest here, because it gains traction at different points in the conversation about this race. Just yesterday, the editorial board of the Post-Standard gave you credit for raising the issue of cities that are in financial distress and elevating the conversation beyond just the city of Syracuse. Do you consider that to be a great accomplishment?
No, I actually don't. I consider what we've done in Say Yes a great accomplishment, what we have done for economic development a great accomplishment. But part of what the New York Times editorial and my work on being an advocate for cities, I put that under being an advocate and saying, here's an issue, it needs to be addressed, and we need all of us to get together and do that.
You've talked in your campaign commercials and when you're out speaking with regular voters about the way the city has moved forward, you say, under your stewardship. One of the things that has been synonymous with your name has been your criticism of Destiny USA. Now that the mall is filling up with tenants, I'm just curious, have you been into the mall expansion? Have you shopped there? And what do you make of the project now that you've seen it thus far?
I have gone, not too often, I've gone to the Apple store, and I think I've been to the Gordon Brewery restaurant for a birthday party once. You know, look, when I came into office, it was an empty shell, and we worked with the developers. I said, look, you've gotten incredibly lucrative benefits. You've missed deadlines. You need to pay us for those deadlines. So we got over $2 million from the developer to keep those deadlines moving. It was really a case of balancing interests. We needed to have stores in the mall. But we also needed to make sure that we didn't give away more benefits than they had already had. So I think that we hit a nice balance with that.
Syracuse Mayor Stephanie Miner won the endorsement of the Post-Standard editorial board yesterday. We woke up to that, but this endorsement came with a bit of a smack, I guess you could call it. The board said, Mayor, that you appear to tolerate bad behavior in the police department. They were talking about the tasering of that disabled man on board a Centro bus when he refused to sit down. And the board says that you've staunchly defended the police chief, Frank Fowler, even as he has this ongoing feud with the Onondaga County DA, and they say he's not a big fan of the Citizen Review Board. Did the paper get it right, or did they get it wrong?
Well, I think that they got it right in that I am a staunch defender of Chief Fowler. I think he is an extraordinary public servant, an extraordinary police chief, and I'm very honored that he has chosen to be part of my administration. You know, early on in my administration, Chief Fowler and I publicly committed to changing the relationship that the police department has with neighborhoods, and we have made great strides towards doing that.
Doesn't what happened on the Centro bus, and I know you can't talk a lot about this because of a pending lawsuit, but doesn't that video, which is everywhere, doesn't that degrade those efforts? I think
I can't talk about that particular incident, and what I would say that everybody should keep in mind is that there's a 4-year track record that you have to look at my leadership and Chief Fowler's leadership. And as I said very early on, we took very public, tough stances to say that we would not tolerate inappropriate behavior by the police department. And it's important to remember that as well.
The story that led this newscast before you were sitting there was about the former DPW worker, Mark Kerrigan, who we learned today lied on his application to work for the city of Syracuse in 2009. Have you been convicted of a crime? He didn't fill out one part of it, and then he checked no in the other box. That was not true. Have you changed anything in personnel at City Hall where these applications are reviewed with maybe a closer eye to see that someone maybe didn't fill out a certain segment of the application?
Well, we have going moving forward. But, you know, as you said, he filled out that application in 2009, and I wasn't mayor in 2009. And so he was terminated immediately upon us learning this information. And we have made sure that we have much more scrutiny of the employees in filling out the applications and looking into it.
They are looked at more carefully. If someone doesn't fill out a section of the application, that's going to be a red flag to someone moving forward?
Absolutely, and to check into background information and references and all of those other things.
Let's talk about, in closing, we've got about 15 seconds, the two men who are running against you. I'd like for you to say something about Councilor Pat Hogan and Alfonso Davis.
Well, you know, when you are in campaigns, in the heat of the battle, you learn to respect people on the other side. They're both working very hard, and I think they both believe in what they're saying. You know, we have very big differences of opinion about, I want to move the city forward, embrace innovation, and both of them are looking at looking backwards and talking about the way things were.
Mayor Stephanie Miner, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Good luck next Tuesday. This is The Talk tonight on CBS 5. And one-on-one with the mayoral candidates in the Democratic primary continues tomorrow. Alfonso Davis is my special guest. We'll be right back.